Hello everyone, welcome back to Witches of the Moon. I'm your Friday hostess, Natalie. I am going to let you know that I am recording this video with my iPad because I'm still having some trouble with my camera on my computer. The application is completely shut down. I've gone through every forum possible trying to figure out how in the heck to get the camera on the computer to work again. It's like it just keeps loading and loading and loading. It won't open up, and then when it does open up, it won't record. I tried downloading a new version of the program, and it's telling me that it can't capture the content. So needless to say, I'm more than a little pissed and very frustrated at this point. So that may come out a little bit in this video. This week's topic is daily SpellCraft, and it is Monday when I'm recording this because it's the only day I'm going to have this week to get this done. So I apologize that I have not had a chance to see Aaron and Rhiannon and Daya's videos, but I did see Eva's, and I wanted to talk a little bit about her perspective and how mine differs a little bit on that. Eva Maria was making some very, very valid points that sometimes people jump into SpellCraft or turn to SpellCraft as a way to solve every problem that goes on in their life. And I think she was taking daily SpellCraft as in formal ritual spells. And I don't see SpellCraft that way. I do, but I don't. Okay, that is certainly an aspect of SpellCraft. But to me, when you are a witch, your words, your thoughts, your visualization, your intent, everything that you do has magical characteristics and is in some way a form of craft, because we are openly practicing the craft. So when you go out and you think something positive or you think something negative, that impacts the energy around you, which is a form of casting a spell. So to me, we do SpellCraft often without truly necessarily intentionally going out to cast a spell, if that makes any sense at all. Let me see if I can clarify my thoughts here a little bit, because like I said, I'm a little frustrated. Now I feel pressed for time, and I'm a little kerflummoxed and very frustrated. So bear with me. I'm sorry. When you are, for example, working in the kitchen, last week or the week before we did week on witching in the kitchen, so to speak. So in that video, we talked about how easy it is to incorporate SpellCraft into your cooking. Now, this is something I do every day. It's just a habit for me. When I cook or when I prepare a meal for somebody, I'm always putting in my intention into the herbs that I'm putting into that. And so I am doing SpellCraft. But it's not like a full grand ritual with SpellCraft involved. I don't pop out the cauldron and, throw in some herbs and things like that. In a way, the pot or the pan or the vessel becomes my cauldron. It's not where I'm out and I'm doing a sachet or I'm creating a sigil for everything that I do per se. I do, like I said, with my daughter's sandwiches, every day I will put a pentacle into the sandwich somehow, and then I will put in the elementals, and I always use my words of power whenever I'm doing that. So that to me is casting as well. Now, when it comes to personal responsibility, I think Eva Maria had some excellent points. She was 100% correct in we should not be abusing the craft in terms of every time something happens in your life, instead of dealing with the situation, you run to the craft. She's absolutely correct. We need to stop and sit back and take a look. And if you are following my second year in a day studies that I'm doing with Timothy Roderick's new book, in that group, I did a video recently where we had been discussing how I was expressing some confusion because in the studies for that particular time period that I was doing my video on, Mr. Roderick had made comments to the effect of we need to learn to go with the flow of nature and not try to force things that shouldn't be, which to me seemed kind of contradictory, because part of being a witch is taking that power within yourself and manipulating that energy for the betterment of yourself or others or what have you. So I was confused because I was like, it seemed to me that the context was going a little bit against what it means to be a witch. However, after watching Eva Maria's video, I think I kind of understand that there are times when SpellCraft may not be necessary. in terms of dealing with a specific situation. But I look at daily spellcraft as in, things I can do daily. To me, spellcraft is almost like prayer. It's something that you do to ensure that your day is going to go smoothly. You might have a specific offering that you give to a deity or a prayer that you offer to the deity. To me, that is spellcraft. That's part of spellcraft. And you might have a little chant or incantation that you use to start your day, finish your day, to help you relieve. To me, taking a shower is spellcraft because I'm always incorporating something into my spellcraft. I have soaps that I manufacture that I do sell on my shop, the Purple Broom Apothecary. So, in case you're interested, we're on Facebook, and the direct link to the website is on our Facebook page. But that being said, there's also a link on my personal YouTube channel now, by the way. It says purchases up at the top on the banner. But anyhow, shameless plug for myself. Using those soaps is a form of spellcraft because I have incorporated and imbued those soaps with magical qualities that are designed to give me strength, peace of mind, coordination, forethought, that sort of thing, relaxation. All of those things that I've imbued into those soaps through my visualization, to me, is part of spellcraft. So each time I use those, that is part of my daily spellcraft. I think when you are a witch, you live your life magically, and spellcraft is a part of who you are. It's a part of what you do. You do it without even realizing you're doing it. Now, I fully agree with Eva Maria that there are times when you need to step back from full-out ritualistic spellcraft and say, geez, maybe I need to take a look at my situation, analyze my behavior. And I was 100% on board with her with that. It's just that, to me, spellcraft becomes a part of who you are when you're a witch, because we understand that words have power, visualization has power, our thoughts have power in and of themselves. And so when we are going out in our daily lives and we're saying, God, I need some strength. We're casting. In doing that, we're casting because we're calling to ourselves those energies and that aid that we need without really fully, casting a circle and having our cauldron or our sachets and, tons of earth. I am so sorry. I don't know how in the he knows, but he always knows. So, anyhow, as I was saying, when we live life magically, we are casting all the time. Now, there are, for people who want to consciously practice the craft on a day-to-day basis, there are books and things. I know Llewellyn's.com has a Spell of the Day book, which they have little spells in there. I know several people, such as, I believe it's Dorothy Blake? D. Blake. Her last name is Blake. Can't think of the first name at the moment. I don't have my books with me because I'm obviously not in my office. She talks about some daily things. Sky Alexander, in her book, The Modern Book of Witchcraft, has some little spells in there for day-to-day usage. And there's another book, Living the Wheel of the Year, I think is the name of the book, and I cannot think of the authors, and I don't have my Kindle book. If I can think of it, I'll put the link in the down bar, but they have a book called Living the Wheel of the Year or something like that. Campanelli, I believe, is the name. It's a husband and wife team, and they talk about that in their book, about daily living of the craft. And it's not so much daily spellcraft as it is just being mindful of the Wheel of the Year and incorporating some of those celebrations throughout the year, being mindful of that sort of thing. And that, to me, is practicing the craft as well. When you are a witch, you live the craft, period. What you do is magical, always. Casting is second nature. It's not something that you necessarily have to do in a stylized or ritualized manner for it to even be effective. There are times when a working is called for that requires more thought and preparation and so forth in that. And that, I think, is what Eva Maria was referring to. I think that perhaps our perspectives on what is spellcraft and daily practice were just slightly different. I think she was seeing it from a more formalized, ritualized, and stylistic perspective than I was. I see spellcraft as just anything you do. When you tell someone, have a good day, you are casting a spell. When you tell someone, I'm praying for you, that's casting, because you're putting that energy forward for their betterment or benefit or whatever, or detriment, as the case may be. I saw a meme the other day that I thought was amusing. It says, revenge is beneath me, but accidents will happen. Those thoughts and words of power that we use on a day-to-day basis are those things that are our daily craft. And so in some ways, people who don't consider themselves witches are still in effect casting. If you truly believe that witchcraft is everybody is capable of being a witch, everyone has some capability, because we do have that spark of divine within us just from being creatures of the divine, then you believe that that is true. And I've seen that work. I mean, there have been people that I have known that have had a real vendetta against somebody else that they really just did not like, somebody they worked with, and they would constantly issue forth negative energy towards that person, and you could see that it had an effect. So in things like that, I think that we cast without even possibly being conscious of it, because it is so second nature to us as witches. And so that's my take on daily spellcraft. I think that when we become more mindful of our own thoughts and words and deeds, and we start to realize that we are doing that, we can take better control of it. But to me, daily spellcraft doesn't necessarily mean, like I said, pulling out your full altar and, sitting down and doing a full cast working on, a situation. There are times when that is called for, and I think even Maria is correct that a lot of times those kinds of situations or, craft, a full working is something that needs to be possibly a last resort, or should not be the first thing that comes to your mind. A full analyzation of the situation and taking in all perspectives is probably better called for. But in terms of just living your day-to-day life, we as witches contain our power within ourselves, and we know this. And so every time we speak a word or we think a thought, we're putting that energy forward, and that to me is spellcraft. So I hope that this has given you a slightly different perspective and has made you think in ways that were a little bit different than what you may have thought previously after seeing some of the other videos this week. I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and look forward to seeing you next week's topic. Blessed be.